Hi, Tom from bknutrition.com, and today I want to give you a quick walkthrough about how to track meals or how to account for meals if you go out for a takeaway or you have a meal out with friends and you're not sure how to account for that in your daily calories. Now we're going to use a tracking app. I have a tracking app that I use with clients called Libro. It's software that's unique to the Nutritic software that I use, but you can use MyFitnessPal as well, which is a free nutrition tracking software. I'm just going to show you on Libro because that's the one I use with my clients, and it's a bit more visual. It's a bit more helpful to show on a screen share than say use MyFitnessPal would be. So the video is going to take it's going to be a little bit different format than what we do normally. It's a walkthrough video, so feel free to pause, take notes, whatever, screenshots if you want to do that. All of this information is free in the public domain, so I'm absolutely fine if you want to sort of share it around or whatever. So what we're going to be using is my data from my Libro account that I have, and you'll see on the screen to my left that I've got some calories eaten set up here and calories burnt. Now, calories burnt is actually, that's just logging how many calories I've burned just existing today. And you can do that, you can work that out by going to bknutrition.com/calculator, and that will give you, if you put in your details, it will give you what's called an EER, which is energy expenditure rate for the day. And that takes into account things like your activity, how much you exercise, your height, your weight, sex, etc., etc. And it will calculate, give you this figure, and then it will say, if you want to lose weight, you need this many calories, and your maintenance is this many calories. So you can see from here that my maintenance is 2,717. I think that's probably slightly low considering how much I exercise, but that's the figure I've used just for this demonstration. And here you can see that the target I put in is 2,617. Now that's a maintenance slightly below maintenance level. So it's only 100 calories below maintenance. So I will be in a very small deficit if I eat to those calories per day. The reason I've set it 100 calories below is because I want to maintain what I've got at the moment. I'm quite happy with how lean I am. I've got a good level of energy through the day. I can eat what I want pretty much through the day within obviously my calories, and I can still enjoy takeaways, ice cream with my son, and all sorts of stuff. So that's the level I've set for myself. If you are looking to lose weight as a sort of a journey or to get ready for summer or something, you probably want to set a 500 calorie deficit. So it's important you've got those figures in mind before you start doing any tracking or anything, and make sure you got them accurately. The problem if you use MyFitnessPal's calorie tracker is that it will give you more energy for your exercise and activity than potentially what you actually would do. And I would definitely not, if you're doing MyFitnessPal, use their activity tracker, as in, so say when you train, I probably wouldn't put in that you've done 500 calories or you've done 40 minutes of exercise, because what it normally does is estimate over what you've actually done, and then people get into the problem where they've tracked all their calories accurately and they put what they think is their workout calories, and then MyFitnessPal is saying, hey, you can have 500 calories more. So they go, great, I'll eat 500 calories more. And then they overeat, then they get fat, and then we wonder why, because they've stuck to their tracker. So just be aware of that. If you're using MyFitnessPal or any of these tracking apps, go with what you've worked out here and eat to that. And then if you do any more exercise than what you normally do, well, that's great. That gives you more of a deficit, so you hit your goals faster. Don't do what's called compensating. So you compensate for the exercise you've done by eating more food, because that's a real classic way that people just end up overeating and not getting the results. So just as a little sort of a warning there before we go into it. So on my tracker here, I've got my calories eaten and everything else. Now the scenario we're going to talk about is I've had my breakfast for the day, and then my mate phones me up and says, hey, do you want to go to Nando's tonight for dinner? I'm like, oh, I don't know, because I haven't planned for that, because I have my calories for the day. I've probably got my meals set out, which I've got my diet plan to follow. And then my mates come along and goes, oh, let's go to Nando's. So that's out of it's basically off-plan diet. Now, what a lot of girls will say is, no, you can't do that. You've got to wait till your cheat day before you go and eat that sort of food. And then you've got to say to your mate, no, I can't because I'm on a diet. And then you got all that conversation about, oh, don't come on a diet, or one won't, blah, 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 blah. What we want to say is, yeah, that's fine, I can come to Nando's. And then what you're thinking is, I'm just going to adjust my calories for the day in order to fit that in so I can still make progress. That's how we teach. That's how I teach my clients to behave. I don't teach them to say, no, I can't go out because I'm on a diet, because that's rubbish, and you'll end up not having a social life. And also your friends will go, there, he's boring or she's boring because she doesn't come out because she's on a diet, you know, so they can't wait for your diet to be over. So actually they'll just start going, well, let's just try and get her off a diet so she's more fun again, or he's more fun again. Okay, so let's go through the scenario, and I'll use a tracking app you can see. So obviously I'm not going to be looking at the camera, some of it, sorry about that. So I'm going to be on my phone tracking it. So I've got my phone here, and I'm going to show you how it works. So when we're going to log our food, so let's say I've had my breakfast for the day. So I've had, let's say I've had my eggs and bagels. So that's something I have quite regularly, eggs and bagels in the morning. So I quite like that meal. So I'm going to save that to my breakfast. So I've had my breakfast. I'm in work, and my mate friends will say, hey, do you want to come to Nando's? I'm like, okay, cool. I've just got to adjust my my plan for the day, because what I probably have is I've probably got like 500 calories for breakfast, 500 for lunch, 500 for evening meal, and then probably some snacks or whatever adds up to my total for the day. So we haven't got lunch and stuff added yet. So what we're going to do is plan ahead to have the Nando's, so we know what we've got left to have in the day. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to dinner, and then we're going to go, right, let's think about Nando's. Now here's the thing: if you put Nando's into MyFitnessPal, I can guarantee you'll be hit with about 100 options, and a lot of them are false. So my advice: go to the website, the Nando's website, or any restaurant, whichever restaurant you're going to, you know, go to that restaurant and say, and look at their website, and then get the calories off that. That's the way to do it. Most of the big restaurants now, McDonald's, Burger King, Nando's, TGI Fridays, all those places, they have their calories on their website because they appreciate the importance of eating healthily. And if a restaurant doesn't have the calories on its website, you got to be thinking, why is that? What are they putting in their food to make their calories a lot more? Now, if you're going to a takeaway or something like that, you're going to have to estimate that. So, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Okay, so let's say we're going to Nando's. So I've gone on the website beforehand, and I've loaded up some of the details into my nutrition software. So all my clients have things like Nando's, Burger King and stuff in their software they can add quite quickly. So I'm going to go and I'm going to have a butterfly chicken. So that's what I normally have. So you can see it's there. So I have my butterfly chicken, and I'm going to have one of those. So I'm going to tick that and save. And then I'm also going to have some chips with that because I quite like chips. So and make sure you obviously have the Nando's chips, because different restaurants cook their foods differently. So I've got Nando's chips, and it might surprise you to learn a large portion of Nando's chips is like 1,000 calories. So yeah, just let that sink in. So we're going to go for a large portion of chips and have that and save that. Right, so now what you can see is that on my planner here, I've had my breakfast I've already had, and now what I've done is I've planned ahead that I'm going to have this Nando's. So the lunch is in a gap here, and also my snacks for the day. I haven't had any snacks yet. So if we go back to our totals, what we can see from that is that because I've put in my breakfast and I've also put in what I'm going to have later on, I haven't had it yet, it's saying that would have meant I've had 2,000 calories today. So if you look at our target, 612 left, or 618, I should say, left there. So I know now that if I go back to my my lunch or my snacks, I can have a few options here. So, and also if you've got your macros set up, you can see that I'm halfway to hit my protein intake. Halfway, let's say 2/3 of the way to hit my carb intake for the day, and I've actually knocked the fat out of the water there by having more fats than I should have normally had. So I've hit my target for that day. Now, if it fits your macros, you obviously might want to be wary about this. But let me just make something clear here: is that macros do not determine fat loss; calories determine fat loss. And if we go into a sub level from that, protein is the next thing you want to be mindful of here, because that's what builds muscle, helps maintain immune system, all that sort of stuff. So I wouldn't be worried about the fact that I've overeaten my calories here on fats, but I need to stay within my calories here if I want to maintain my fat loss or maintain the way my body's looking. So what's our options now? So we go back to our log. So we've got a few options here. We can say, wow, do you know what? I probably don't need lunch. I can probably skip lunch or have like a banana or something, just to sort of a snack to tide me over. So I can probably do that. And then that leaves me with a banana is about 100 calories. So if I took 100 calories off that, I've got 500 calories left. So I can have 500 calories left of, say, snacks. Because what might happen is, and if you think this through, you go to Nando's and then your mate goes, oh, should you have a beer afterwards? And you go, oh, I can't have a beer because that's not within my calories. So we've got to think ahead about what might happen after we've been to our meal out. And you might want to have a pudding or something like that. So I would probably leave. I'll probably have a little snack here for lunch, or like a very small meal or something like a protein bar, or like maybe a chicken omelet or something, which is, like 200 calories. And then I would save the rest for afterwards. So we can intermittent fast. We can have breakfast and then have nothing until we go out for Nando's in the evening, and then have all the food afterwards as like snacks or whatever. We can have a small snack for lunch, and then have our Nando's and then have the rest of the snacks afterwards. Or we can not eat at all at lunch and not eat at all for snacks, because that will fill us up for the day. And then we've got more calories to play with in the next day. So then you've got to think about, this is why I ask my clients to track food over the week, not per day. Because if you get into tracking it per day and try and hit it exactly right every day, then if a situation like this comes up, where potentially, because what might happen here is that actually we've got had breakfast and lunch, and then our mate goes, do you want to go for dinner? And then we've already overeaten our calories. So if we've got some in reserve, if we've banked some from the previous days because we've not had, say, 200 calories here, 200 calories there, we can say, well, actually, yeah, I can go out and smash that Nando's, and that's going to take me 400 calories over this day, but I've got 200 from 2 days in a row that are actually banking. So if you log in your calories over the course of the week, and there's actually a free app on my website you can go to and get that. If you go to bknutrition.com, I think it's social links, or if you go to Instagram, there's just a link there, you can go into it, and it's something like weight loss and tracking calorie calculator or calorie tracker. Anyway, activity tool, that's what it's called. So if you go into that, and then it gives you a free spreadsheet which will log all this for you. So if you're logging your daily calorie intake, you can see actually how much you've got left for the week or how much you're building up. And the same principle applies for, say if your mate goes, oh, I want to go on Friday, well, you can track your days in advance. So you can do this for Friday. So then if you need to bank up calories to go into the next, so say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, to make room for these calories, you're going to overeat on the Friday, you can do that as well. So this is a really interesting way of, and really easy way, once you've done it a few times, to be able to account for, say, random things that are going to happen. And if your mate's asking to go out for places, or you've got a birthday coming up or something like that, you can put the calories in to be able to account for that. Now, I did say earlier I was going to show you how to account for, say, a takeaway that didn't have the calories. So let's take that out. So yeah, let's take that out there. So so a mate says to us, oh, let's go out for a meal, but we're going to this takeaway. It's a local takeaway. They don't have their stuff listed as calories. So I'm like, how do I track that? Okay, so there's a couple of ways you can do that. Now, I would always err on the side of safety when tracking food from restaurants, because they're always going to put stuff in that's going to make it taste nice, and all those things generally tend to have more calories in, like oil, like carbs, like sweets, that sort of thing. They all have more calories in to make it taste nice. So say we're going to go for like a curry or something. Most apps will have like generic curries listed. So let's just put in curry there, see what pops up. Yeah, so we've got a couple of here. Now here we've got so on my app there, it lists a few things, and on my Fitness Pal and Eat This Much and all those other ones, they will have like a generic chicken curry or generic whatever you're having. It'll be on there because all these meals, thousands, millions of people across the world eat these types of meals. So it's unlikely you're going to go to a takeaway, which is like, this is the only takeaway in the world that sells only this food ever. So there's not a chance that you're going to have a meal that you can't track or have a close approximation. And remember, it's always look at the good average here. We're never looking at getting exactly right, because it won't be exactly right. People don't measure things on a scale and put it into a meal when they cook it for you in restaurants. So say we're going to go for takeaway, we'll put in takeaway here. Now, my software gives me options like small, medium, and large portions. Most software does that. So even if you're going to have a medium portion, just go and chuck in a large portion, because you don't know what their version of a small, medium, and large portion is. So let's just err on the side of safety. We're going to have a large portion there, save that. And if we're going to have rice with it, so let's say put in rice here. And this is the time I would go for the cooked option. So because you're not weighing it yourself, not cooking it yourself from raw, go for the cooked option. When I advise my clients to do their tracking themselves and they're cooking their meals themselves, I always say go for the raw option, because you can control that. You can't control how much water and fat is lost from cooking item, but you can control the raw weight. So let's go for the cooked option. So go rice, cooked. See what that throws up. And then once we've got that, so we've got rice ready cooked. So let's go for basmati rice boiled. Go for that. And again, let's go for the bigger option, because, you know, don't know what the small and large portion is. So we'll go for that. 160 grams. That's quite sizable. That's about 80 grams uncooked is 160 grams cooked. So let's go for that. And again, it depends on the cooking. It depends how long they boil the water in it, because the weight that's gained from cooking is the water weight. Okay, so we put that in, it there. So now we can see that we've got those calories in. If we go back to our totals, and actually, ironically, that's less than the Nando's. Although I might be, you know, inclined to sort of go back and have another little think about that, because a chicken curry is actually, you know, it can be quite sizable. And what you can do is you can actually, on my software, and obviously my Fitness Pal app does this as well, I can actually see, let's just go back. I can actually see what the calories eaten are for, let's go for dinner, there, go to there. So I can actually see that what it's logged for me for my evening meal, which is supposed to go into this takeaway, is 536 calories. That seems quite low to me, so I'll probably go back and then fiddle with those totals again. Ideally, if you're going out for a takeaway and you know it's quite a sizable takeaway, you know there's going to be rice and carbs and sauces and stuff like that, I would be budgeting for about 1,000 calories, unless you're going to be really conscious about what you eat. 536 calories for me, that seems low for a takeaway meal out. So I know that somewhere there, my the portions are slightly off. So if you are going out for a takeaway, you're going out for pizza or something like that, I would always budget towards the end of 800 to 1,000 calories, just in case that's what happens. So that's how you would estimate it, and then you can plan ahead for your meals going outwards. So I hope that was helpful. I hope it was it's a bit of a departure from my normal videos. I'm just sat here talking, but hopefully you've got something from that. Let me know if it was helpful, and if you want more of these types of videos, because I'm always here to help, and I'd like to help people as much as I possibly can. So if this video was helpful, feel free to share it, like it, tell your friends if they're worried about coming out for a takeaway. You've invited them out and go, no, I've got to stay on my diet because my coach says no. Say, watch this video, and this expert guru nutrition person will tell you how to do your nutrition. So I hope that was helpful. Feel free to like me some comments or whatever. If you want another video done using this sort of setup, then let me know. And thanks for watching, and have a great week. Cheers.